And welcome to MidDay Café, episode 10, this Monday, 5/17/2021. Today we're going to be discussing Microsoft Teams, large meetings, as well as Microsoft Teams for home. I want to welcome our panelists to the podcast today. So if we can start with Scott, and we'll kind of do a round robin. Scott, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure, I'm Scott Moore. I'm Teams technical specialist here with Health and Life Sciences.
Excellent. And Sue?
Hi, Sue Vinsel. I am also a Teams technical specialist on the team with These Crazy Cats. Happy to be here.
And last but never least, Pete?
Pete Nanello. I'm also a Teams technical specialist within the healthcare org on the East. So we're all peers and in this together.
And I'm your host, Michael Giannotti, and I'm the same as them. So we're all the same. We're like the compadres here. So I want to welcome everybody. We have a lot to cover today for MidDay Cafe. So why don't you go ahead, grab your cup of techno goodness, caffeinate up, and let's get ready to ride. So for our first topic, we are bringing up, and this is why I saved you for last, Pete, because now you go first. We're going to bring up Mr. Pete Anello to talk about large meetings and what they are and why you want to know.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. We announced last week, we've been talking about it for a long time, and our customers have been really anxious, chomping at the bit for large meeting support for pretty much as long as I can remember. We finally committed to it, and we've been waiting patiently almost day by day, week by week, and ultimately it led to, on the 11th, we announced that large meeting support was rolling out within Teams, within the webinar space. So that's an interactive meeting up to 1,000 participants.
Whoa.
And then it can scale up to 10,000.
Whoa. How many?
1,000.
I just had to do that.
Is that what I said, or did I say something else?
But a lot of folks have no idea we were rolling that out.
Yeah, a lot of my customers hound me almost weekly on when this feature is coming out. But many may not know that it is coming out. But yeah, 1,000 active participants, and then it has the ability to scale an additional 19,000 participants to be view only. So that's 20,000 users can be within a webinar. The first 1,000 are interacting just like the four of us are here. Obviously you want presenter attendee controls and, policies in place, but it can scale up to 20,000, and those additional people will be able to experience that webinar, but in a view-only capacity.
That is awesome. Comments, questions from the gallery here. It's quiet.
I want to test one. It's hard to get a test of those together because not many of us know 1,000 people that can, or 1,002 who can hop on a call at a specific time. Right?
Yeah.
No, you're right. And but some of the things, though, I thought was interesting, not only the scale, but the controls that it brings and some of the features that I actually have a meeting right after this to talk about this with a customer, because they want to do for certain events and stuff, they want to have a registration page, they want to track and do all that. So anybody want to speak to that piece? Or maybe educate me.
I mean, you definitely have the ability to register the webinar now, put in specific questions and fields that are required to answer. And then when that webinar is over, there's a report that you can run to see, who joined, when they joined, how long they joined for.
Nice. So all that tracking capability. How about some of the advanced controls that it kind of brings front and center around because 1,000 people that's a lot of interactive people.
Yeah.
Right. So what are some of the things you've seen that it does with that?
Yeah, so it's important when you are going to have an event like that to identify who's going to be your, presenters or your, and who's going to be your attendees and identify them out of the gate. At that point, you can do things like hard mute everyone, hard mute people's cameras, right? So, 1,000 people, you might only want a specific group of people to be able to show their camera because of just the sheer volume. So those controls are there. And there is some thought that needs to go into managing an event of that size, and having those sort of predefined roles ahead of time is important.
Yeah, I think when I looked at it, for me, it was the really cool thing. We've had meetings, right, forever. He's going to attend to the weed whacker. Disappeared into the jungle. There he goes.
Sorry.
But, we've had the meetings forever. We have live events, which is a very controlled experience, typically delivered by people with domain expertise around webcasts. But this kind of falls squarely in the middle of those two.
It brings them together, right? It's like Reese's peanut butter cup, right? It's like two great tastes. You just have it all in one right there. So, and then it gives you flexibility, where before with the smaller meeting limit, you might not expect to hit that target, and then you do, and you're kind of like stuck. Mm-hmm. This allows it to be elastic, so you don't have to worry as much.
Yeah, I think it's great. It's you've got those controls. You have the big thing with setting the mute and unmute, and we've played with it a bit, where setting up that meeting, and you can have them already pre-muted, so they join audio video working, but then you have the ability to release that. So if they say in chat and you want to have them speak, that's all presenter controlled, and that's pretty awesome.
So one of the things that they put in the announcement last week was a getting started guide for Teams webinars, where it covers all of these things in details. We can share that at the end, but it's aka ms/Teams webinar/guide.
So what's that again?
aka.ms/Teams webinar/guide.
Flash guide. Cool. Yeah, we'll share the link in the post afterwards. Anybody else been seeing discussion, people asking for this kind of stuff? Some use cases?
One of the earliest and first, and probably one of the more valid use cases I heard of early on, was from one of our provider customers who has clinics, over 20,000 clinics in the US and clinics across the globe. Mm-hmm. They cooperate with one another when there are disasters and catastrophes worldwide. So there may be severe flooding in a certain part of the country, and things like sterilized gloves, equipment like that, some basic, fundamental provisions are ruined. So they work as a cooperative, and they have essentially these very long, 12, 20-hour calls that go on that can sometimes have 100 to 800 people on them, where it's essentially like a free live auctioneer's block, right? Like, hey, we have a disaster on X, we need X, Y, and Z. Who has it? Wow. So their main thing was, we don't know when they're coming in, we don't know when they're joining, but it can get very large, and we're talking about a disaster situation, right? So we can't think about a lot of stuff. We just need to be able to spin it up. And I thought that was a really solid use case, and we brought that back to engineering probably like three and a half years ago.
That's good.
Very cool. That is neat. Anything from anybody else? on this?
One day you won't be able to shut me up. One day.
That's all right. And I see Scott, he's been like reading over our next topic intently because it just
Yeah,
released.
he is.
I'm like, Scott, are you there?
So I'm here. So definitely we can segue. There's also a new feature that was announced today, Teams for Home. So this is now a consumer version of Teams that we have out there today, where anyone with an email address, they can register and they can download Teams with that identity. So you can now use Teams features, associated with that identity. So you can instant message, you can peer-to-peer call, you can have meetings, peer-to-peer meetings, that is. But it definitely extends a lot of these capabilities now into the consumer space. There's even some use cases out there where you can assign tasks in a shared to-do list in Teams. You can even do instant polling, so you could, schedule a poll with the participants in that perpetual chat and say, hey, what do you guys want to do this weekend? Do you guys want to go camping or, go to the racetrack or whatever? You can do those type of things inside of Teams, in the consumer, version. You can schedule and share meeting invites there. It really opens up a lot of different capabilities. It's really cool because some of the use cases that are being shown in the public website are really around, giving it to your kids, and using that as a communications, mechanism with your kids. Everybody has their own Teams identity. You can keep track of your kids, assign them to clean their room, wash the dishes, and they can keep track of them there. So it's really interesting.
I think it's a lot of value too. You can have an hour-long call with up to 100 people. And this is all free. And then if it's a one-on-one, free.
Free.
And then if it's a one-on-one up to 24 hours, there's not a soul out there I would want to talk to for 24 hours, but it's there. It's in there. And Pete posted the link at 12:15. If y'all want to scroll up and take a look, that's a nice public link. Send it out to your friends and family. You can check it out. It's fun.
And we'll include that in the post as well. One of the other things I thought was interesting, so you can register with that email, right, and download that. And I like the scenario you were talking about with, parents and kids, especially as kids are returning back to school, parents are going back to work, and they're physically disparate. But for the parent, when they go back to work, they're probably using Teams. Do they got to download 2 clients?
Same client.
What
do they do?
Yeah. Do you want to cover that, Scott?
Well, that would be the mobile client coming out of your mobile device, most likely. So
that
Android.
And they made it so easy to switch between the 2 profiles. So I'm sure all of us probably have a personal account and a work account. I've had my personal account for a while, so I don't have to have the app installed twice. I can just switch in between. And I like that I can keep it separate, my personal life and my work life. I like that I can keep that separate. Yeah,
I like that, being able to add that personal one and then do that flip. And it provides a clear, switch, but you'll still see like the little alerts and the numbers popping up. Yeah, I mean, to me, that's like ideal because you get the separation and then you also get the controls from the enterprise space. But the ability, to flip to your kids and do stuff from there. And I think that's pretty cool. Anything else that stood out to anybody? Any cool features? I think, Sue, you were showing some.
Oh, well, I was playing around with the standout presentation. I can do that real quick. Let me, you know what? Since you asked, let me show you. So here it is. This is being able to, be like the weather person, where I can show up. This is the actual page. See, I can point to it. Click here. This is the link that Pete posted at 12:15. Nice. But what Scott didn't mention is check this out. It's like a live virtual lounge. so you can feel like you're actually at a bar with your people.
So
pretty
Together,
fun.
man.
yeah, so can you go back to that one sec? For
Sure.
those who are on the audio, it's actually looking like kind of like a bar like atmosphere. It looks to me like a more personal, homey version of that together mode, but focusing more on the friends and family kind of scenario and social.
And thanks for spelling that out for our listening only people. I forgot about that. But yeah, so there's this one. So again, it looks like a bar and everyone's sitting at it. And when I was with another company and Microsoft came out with the together mode, I really made fun of it. I was like, psh, who's going to deal with that? But then when I came on board and got to actually use the feature, it doubles my smile. I actually felt like, I can't believe it. I fell for it. I felt like I was in the same room with the team.
Sucker! You fell for it.
Sucker, I know, and I loved it. The next screen here, and if you scroll down, everything Scott talked about is all on this web page. This is showing about how you can do an instant poll. Hike, do you guys want to hike or barbecue, which would be my vote. But anyway, but also the main reason I'm showing you is because this is the standout mode and it allows me to be more interactive with my presentations.
Very cool. Now, wait a minute. Down below, it says organize your life all in one place. And I see like a little Excel file icon. What are they talking about here?
So there's a dashboard. See, you got, over here, you can chat. So right now I'm showing a little mock demo of the Teams client. There's a chat up at the top, or you can hit on the dashboard. And the dashboard is where it keeps all your tasks, your ongoing messages, your calendar. You can keep it all in one place to help you stay organized.
As well as shared content. Another cool thing there is also there's a digital safe. So think of that as a collection area for where you can save content that everybody can share and collaborate on.
Nice.
Yep. It's good stuff.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Nah, that's it. I think we talked all to it.
Yeah. No, I think that's cool. So, I mean, Monday, it seems to be Teams Day today for Monday.
It's Teams Day every day.
Every day.
Come
so
on
we've
now.
got the large meetings. If you haven't talked to your IT about them, if you're not seeing them yet, you want to do that. And then the personal one, I think that's great because it gives you a lot of flexibility. And yeah.
And I just want to the whole single, if we're already using Teams, it just makes my life easier that I can now use Teams in my personal life as well.
Right.
We don't need Zoom. We can just
Need
use
what?
Microsoft.
No.
Yeah. So, I out and I know I confused you guys. There's no excuse.
Yeah. And it's, again, you're on a common platform now, right? With your family. So all these folks working with Teams during the day, now you can have an easy to use common experience for everybody.
Yep.
So any last thoughts, call outs by anybody, anything else going on?
I think the big play here really is around, extending these capabilities into the consumer space,
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. It's really, really cool.
I'd like just to put a shout out there just for topics from our listeners. If there's anything you guys want us to cover, we try to share what we've learned in the past 5 days at work. Somehow Mike finds a way to pull it out of us. But what do you all want to hear? Let us know.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is only our second episode. I mean, it's episode 10, but really the second of this new format. So we're just finding our way. And as there are topics that are hot buttons for you, please come to the post and this is where you'll find the video version and all the resources. So if you're listening, video and resource links, you go to aka.ms/HLS blog. That's aka.ms/HLS blog. And there you'll be able to find the post. You can make comments. You can leave suggestions. We monitor all that. You can also reach out to us on LinkedIn. We're all on LinkedIn, so feel free to harass all of us. Scott said he especially appreciates that. when people get him on LinkedIn. And, find us there. And then also, lastly, as you start to find some value in things that we're talking about, you can take us on the go. You can find us on Apple, iTunes, Apple iTunes Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and on Spotify. So we're on all three of the biggies, and you can take MidDay Cafe on the go with you. And we encourage that. And let us know what we can do for you and what we can talk about. So with that, this is Mike.
Sue Bensel.
Scott Moore.
And Pete Anello.
Pete Anello. We all bid you good day. Have a great day, a great rest of the week, and we'll be back this next Monday with MidDay Cafe. Bye, everyone.
See you guys.
Bye.
See ya.